All right, Steph. For my next hot take, it's another guy I love this season. It's Terry McLaurin. And he's grown on me all
Yes.
offseason. And this take is that Terry McLaurin, Scary Terry, finishes as a wide receiver one, so the top 12 in PPR formats this
I
season.
love it.
Let's back it up. Last year, Terry McLaurin was the wide receiver 29 in full PPR. He only played 14 games, but he was on a terrible Washington Redskins team. This team was volatile. They fired their head coach halfway through the season. Bill Callahan comes in and, acts like he's trying to get Adrian Peterson like 3,000 yards on his Madden franchise. It was as if he just wanted to run the ball every single play, regardless of how much they trailed. Here's a really awesome stat from this Redskins team last year that really lays the blueprint for what they were trying to do. They were dead last in pass yards per game, 175 yards a game. Yikes. They were
Ooh.
dead last in scoring offense, only 16 points a game, 26th in pace of play, and 30% of their drives led to 3 and outs. And they were that bad in the passing game last season, and they should have had all these pass heavy game scripts while they were trailing, they were struggling, but yet they still decided to run the ball that much. They spent more time trailing last season than every team in the NFL other than the Jacksonville Jaguars. So
Oh,
I don't expect that to change this year. This team did not get a lot better in the offseason. They're going to be trailing a lot again in 2020. They bring in new head coach Ron Rivera. He's not a moron. If they're behind in games, he's going to try to pass the ball with his young quarterback, with his young receiving core, and catch up and develop these guys. So Ron Rivera comes in. He's going to establish a better culture on that team. And I look at this receiver room. There is nobody else. I think the one thing that concerns me the most is Dwayne Haskins is throwing him the ball. The O-line's not necessarily great, but there should be plenty of volume on this offense. Terry McLaurin had a 19.4% target share last season. I expect that to go up. Dwayne Haskins was his college quarterback at Ohio State. McLaurin's the number one option. I know there's a lot of hype around guys like Antonio Gibson, Antonio Gandy, Golden, even Kelvin Harmon, Steven Sims are there. But come on, what names did I really just mention? Maybe some of those guys have upside, but there is no other superstar receiver. Terry McLaurin is there to be a superstar receiver, and I think they're going to try to pass the ball at their young quarterback. So last year he showed flashes. He was 12th in the NFL in yards per reception, had 93 targets, 58 catches, 919 yards, and 7 touchdowns. So I think Terry McLaurin's an incredibly talented wide receiver, and I am super, super hyped to see what he can do with a full offseason with Dwayne Haskins, a new head coach, and a more competent offense in 2020.
I love it. I'm so in on McLaurin. He's a guy that, we talk about wide receiver position being so deep this year. McLaurin is a guy that if you're loaded up on some of the other positions, why not plug him in as your wide receiver too? I think he has plenty of upside. And Dwayne Haskins did have his moments last year. I know the narratives are you're going against him pretty hard right now, but he did have some impressive plays. So who knows, right? We're not going to deal in absolutes and just say Haskins is trash. He's never going to make it. I mean, he was drafted into a
He
team as
might
a
be, but who
starter,
knows?
we'll see. But yeah, I think McLaurin could finish very, very high this year. Right now, just in our projections, which again are not hot takey at all whatsoever. You have him at the wide receiver 16. I have him at the wide receiver 22. Give him a census rank of the wide receiver 20. Again, this is in PPR, but I'm pretty excited for Terry this year and can certainly see him finishing as a wide receiver 1.
One more thing about Terry last season. I mentioned he was the wide receiver 29 in full PPR. I really think that's his floor. He was a rookie. He only played 14 games last year, and he actually had at least 50 yards in 10 of his 14 games played. And that was with that trash Redskins situation last season. So I think the floor is there for McLaurin. He's going to get the volume.
He's elite.
And there's nowhere to go but up. There's nowhere to go but up for this season for Terry.